Alright, what's up? We're back with the origins of KrazyNick, where my street name came from. Alright, so there's a real important detail about this story, and we're going to go into that right now. And that is the fact that before I had came over to his house that day, about 24 hours earlier, he had been raided by the DEA. Okay? This is the kicker. Now, I don't remember if I either learned when I talked to him before I came over, or if I learned when I got there. But either or, it's really irrelevant. So, I either learned about this story from him out of his mouth upon arrival, or he might have spoke about it briefly on the phone. It wasn't something he was so much trying to hide, okay? Now, I get there with a couple of people, a couple of homies. The person that introduced us to each other in the first place, B, is with me. Now, when I told y'all that bag of trash got tossed on the floor and a conversation moved to the kitchen, the conversation was the detail of him being raided. Now, in that conversation, he made a huge mistake when I asked him. He showed some documentation. Without being asked, he showed the warrant. On the warrant, it said Bob Fisher. Now, what he didn't know, but what I knew, is Bob Fisher was like high-level airport DEA. This is back in the 90s, okay? So, when I read that name, and my address is his address. Remember, my ID has this same address on it that they just raided, but I've been gone for like a month. At the point of reading his warrant, I know they came there for me. He doesn't know I know this. So I ask him, what did they ask you about me? And he said they didn't ask nothing about you. Right then and there, I knew he was lying about at least that detail, and that was a major detail. And if you're lying about that detail, that means you're probably agreed to try to set me up. Now, I don't want to go too far in the details of his situation, but he was on some EJJ shit, which is like a juvenile jurisdiction that carries over after you're 18 years old. So he got caught with either a loaded magazine or an empty magazine. I want to say a loaded magazine, which would have been a violation of his EJJ, not necessarily a criminal charge as an adult, but it would have got this EJJ situation violated for him. So, this is complicated. So, the EJJ situation, even the clip would have got him violated, okay? So, they had him based on what I was reading on that piece of paper and based on his criminal history background and the case that he was on during that time, that he was on EJJ 4, they had him with really not even finding drugs or a full weapon. They still had him. Now, as I'm asking him, what did Bob Fisher ask you about me? And he's like, nothing. And I'm like, okay. I don't tell him I know you're lying. I know you're lying though. See, now at the time, back in the 90s, even though I hadn't really, like I said, sold a lot of drugs, had gotten wrapped up in a RICO indictment already where I was not the main focus of it, but definitely a target. So that's why they came and raided his house, was over the Rico shit, hoping to catch me, stumble across him. Here we go, 24 hours later, I'm at him, and now I'm questioning him about this situation in the kitchen. Now the bag of trash comes up missing. Because like I said, his girl then ran off with the bag of trash when this conversation about all the details of his raid were being discussed, and I was starting to become aware of how loaded the situation was that I was standing in. Okay? Now, I think we can jump up out of that for now as far as all the details of the fact that he got raided 24 hours before I'm there, and this bag of garbage comes up missing, and now we done located his girl, and he done put his word on it that he's gonna get it back. Now it's back 7 o'clock in the morning, back at his house, and the 2x4, the 10-foot long 2x4 gets rifled through his window. As it breaks through the glass, he sees it coming, so he opens the door. Now, if you were looking from the outside, not really knowing the situation, it probably looked like I smashed the door open but no, that's not what happened. What happened is he tried to open the door before because he knew I wasn't playing, but he knew he bluffed too long, and it backfired on him. Now the shit hit him in the chest. The board hits him in the chest after it breaks through the window and the door's opening. I come in, grab him in like a front chokehold, and just slam him to the ground. Boom! The whole house shook. Said the person, the woman driving, was like, man, the whole fucking house shook. Because it was like 400 pounds, just boom, getting slammed to the ground. My weight and his. And then, now the plan was, I'm gonna fuck him up and handle this motherfucker. You go make sure the bitch don't do nothing stupid. So, as I'm fucking this motherfucker up, he ends up begging on his knees with like his hands up like, no, no, no. And I haven't just like beat him like retarded bloody. You know, I still want him somewhat like coherent. And so I done snatched the cords out the wall, all type of shit. A motherfucker might try and exaggerate. Like B might tell the story and say that I tied him up with phone cords and all that. Like, no, that didn't happen, man. Like, I snatched the phone cords out the wall. Like, nobody got tied up with no phone. That's probably what would have happened, possibly. But that didn't happen. So, I'm securing the scene, doing what I gotta do in this situation, which I really don't want to be in this situation, mind you. So, my man, he's supposed to be doing what he's doing. Now, the whole time at this point, he's on his knees. That's as far as he's recuperated, is to his knees. And he's got his hands up and he's like begging me, which I don't like it when you beg me and look for a soft spot when I got to put in work, man. Like, don't do that shit to me. You'll just get fucked up worse. So he's begging me, and there's this lighter fluid, like that yellow shit that you fill up like a Zippo with. It was on his counter, on his like TV stand or some shit. And he's begging me, and I'm looking at the thing, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at the lighter fluid. I'm just trying to fight it off, man. I'm trying to fight off dousing this dude with lighter fluid and just lighting his ass up. Sure enough, I grab the lighter fluid and I start dousing him with it. He just sits there on his knees, no flight, no fight, just getting doused until the bottle is empty. Now, I don't like telling these stories, you guys. Okay? Like, this isn't like some shit I'm proud of. It's not really necessarily some shit I'm ashamed of either, but I just don't really like having to go there with people, man. So, dude's begging. I done emptied the bottle, his own bottle of lighter fluid on him. And now I pull out the lighter. And that'll be part 3. Y'all gonna have to wait for that one.